today I'm going to show you how to make this necklace. I'm calling the Crystal Station necklace. It goes with the Crystal Station bracelet that I made in my previous video. And though it's not exactly the same, I've made the stations vertical and I've made them with 2 sets of crystals instead of 3. It's still very pretty and it still goes together very nicely using the same beads and the same basic units. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's go ahead and look at what it takes to make this project today. Let's get a little closer just so you can see what the units look like. And put it against my skin if possible. And that's what that looks like. So let's look at our material list. Okay, for this project today, you will need a toggle clasp. I'm using this little silver tone fancy toggle. And then you will need 8/0 seed beads. This is a Toho galvanized aluminum silver tone. Then you will need 4mm cube crystals. And you can use any brand you want, any type you want. Just keep in mind that from brand to brand and type to type, the measurements actually differ. It may say 4mm, but it's not necessarily always the same. So you will want to watch your length as you do your project to make sure that you are ending up with the length you want because of the size differences in cubes. Then you will need a 4mm round bead. This is a glass pearl and it is cream colored. Then you will need 11/0 seed beads. This is also Toho galvanized aluminum silver tone. You will need some thread. I'm going to use 8-pound Nanofil today. You can use 6 or 8-pound Fireline or 8 or 10-pound Nanofil. That will all work. I'm using a size 10 beading needle, and I have threaded onto my needle a full wingspan, which is when you spread your arms from side to side and measure from fingertip to fingertip across your chest. So you will need to add thread during this project. So if you do not know how to extend your Fireline or Nanofil, check out video number 4 on my new channel called GGC's Beginning Beaders, and that will show you how to do that. Go ahead and thread your needle and let's get started. Okay, so to start this project, you're going to pick up 2 crystal cubes, like so, and you're going to bring it to the end of your thread. Leave enough tail to extend your Fireline or Nanofil so that we can do the ending of the necklace, the part that goes up around your neck after we finish the main part of the necklace. So once you have done that, then go ahead and go up through the first crystal you put on and pull your thread through. This will pull your crystals together like so. You get a little closer. This is what you should have. Now pull your tail and pull your working thread. You want these to be very tight, so we're going to sew through them again. And the thread tends to loosen on the first set, so we want to really get it nice and neat. So just pull both thread ends like so. And then pick up 2 more crystals. And you're coming out of this crystal, you're going to go down through this crystal here. And pull your crystals down. Lay them out whole side up, like so, on top of the other crystals. Now they're not going to be nice and neat at this point, that's okay. You're coming out of this bottom crystal now, or the first set that you did, and come up through the one next to it and the one on top of that one. Pull tightly. Now just come through the one next to the one you're coming out of here. This is an attempt to tighten these crystals and make them lay nice and straight. So we're coming out of this crystal here. Now we're going to cross over and go just up into the one on top here. The one right next to the one we're coming out of. like so, and pull your thread through. Try not to get your tail like I just did. And pull that thread through that bead. And that will straighten up, once you pull your thread, that will straighten up your beads so that they lay on top of each other nice and neat. Then at this point, you're going to pick up two, excuse me, two 4mm round pearls, like so. You're coming out of this bead, you're going to go into the one next to it and the one underneath it. And pull those beads down like so. Now you're going to pick up two more pearls. You're coming out of this crystal, you're going to go into the one next to it, and the pearls on top. Now they're going to loosen, that's okay. As we pull our thread through, we'll tighten them up. Like so. Now pick up two 11-0 seed beads and go down just through the pearl. So you're coming out of this pearl, we're just going to go into this pearl and exit, like so. And pull them down. Now you're going to cross over and go back up into the pearl next to the one you're coming out of. So just cross over and go into this pearl here and up through the seed bead on top of it, like this, and pull. Tighten that up so it looks nice and neat. And we're going to put one more set of 11-0s on top of the set we just created. So pick up two 11-0s, go down into the 11-0 next to the one you're coming out of. Then cross over and go into the one next to the one you're coming out of now. So you're coming out of the bottom one, cross over, go into the one next to it and the one on top of that one, like so. And then pull your thread through. Place your finger on top and just kind of pull those beads down tight against the pearls. And then you're coming out of this bead here, cross over, go down into both the 11-0s and the pearl underneath them and exit. Pick up three 11-0 seed beads onto your needle. You're going to cross over and go down into the crystal here. Actually, let's go up into these two. Let's go up into the pearl. I'm going to change my mind just because I think it's going to make a neater stitch. So I'm coming out of this pearl, go up into the crystal, or excuse me, go up into the pearl next to the one you're coming out of, and up through both of the 11-0 seed beads. And pull. So that that little strand of three 11-0s lays nice and neat over the top. Then we're going to cross over, so we're in this 11-0, we're going to cross over, go into the pearl, the 11-0 underneath the 11-0 you're in, and the pearl, and through both the crystals. Now sometimes they're laying funny and it's hard to get your needle through, so just take your time and navigate through. There we go. And I'm going to go through all the beads. So I'm going through the two 11-0s, the pearl, the two crystals, and the pearl. And if you can't get all of them, you can always do them separately. Now you're going to pick up two 11-0 seed beads, like so. You're coming out of this pearl, you're going to go into this pearl here. And pull those 11-0s down. Then you're going to cross over, so you're coming out of this pearl, cross over, go into the pearl on top, and pull, like so. Now you're going to pick up a pearl and an 11-0 seed bead. Like so. Bring this pearl and 11-0 down to the 11-0s on your piece. Now you're coming out of this 11-0 here, so you're going to go around the 11-0 that's on top of the pearl you just added, and into the 11-0 next to the one you're coming out of, so here. And then you're going to go down into the pearl underneath it and exit. Pull this all nice and tight so that it lays really pretty. And then we are going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, and we're going to cross over and we're going to sew through this one more time just to make it nice and sturdy. So go through the pearl and the 11-0 underneath it, the pearl on the bottom, and pull these 11-0s down between the crystals and the pearls, like so. Now go through your 11-0 seed bead on top of this bottom pearl again. Go down through the pearl again and the 2 11-0s, the pearl underneath it, and the crystals, and exit, like so. Pull it all tight. Make sure everything looks good. Travel up through these 3 11-0 seed beads here. And come through. Straighten everything out, and then go back up into the pearls on top here, and just the pearl. So you're coming out of the 3 11-0s, go up into this pearl. And exit the pearl. Don't go through the 11-0s on top of it. And pull tight. Straighten everything up. Like so. And this is what you should have for your very first unit. Then you're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. Now I'm going to say right away, with this particular pattern, there's lots of ways to sew through and accomplish the same thing I'm doing. So if you find yourself kind of altering, as long as you end up with the same thing, that's fine. Pick up 3 11-0s, a pearl, and 3 11-0s, because I find myself doing that. So if I do that, just realize, as long as we end up with the same thing, that's all that matters. So pick up 3 11-0s, another 4mm round, and 3 11-0s. And you're coming out of this pearl here, you're going to go through the bottom of it. So you're coming out of the top of that pearl, you're going to go through the bottom of the pearl. And pull. And now you have a little loop. You're coming out of the pearl again, you're going to go through these 3 11-0 seed beads. So just put your needle on all 3 of them, and they're going to loosen up. That's okay. Pull and tighten, like so. And then go down into the pearl that you just put on. Tighten. Pick up another pearl, like so. Now you're coming out of the bottom of this pearl, go into the top of it, and pull. And then go back up through the pearl you just added, like so. Pull your thread tight so that you don't have a whole lot of thread showing there. There will be some. There's nothing you can do about that. You're going to see that. We're going to cover it. But just pull it as tight as you can so that it keeps it as neat as possible. And then pick up 2 11-0 seed beads onto your needle and go down through the pearl. Come back up through the pearl next to the one you're coming out of here. Go up through the 11-0 seed bead on top of that pearl. Pull tightly. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads onto your needle. You're coming out of this 11-0, go into the one next to it. Pull them down on top of the 2 that you just put on, and then cross over. Now the reason I'm doing this first is because it pulls these pearls together and tightens things up nicely for us. So make sure you do this step. After you're coming out here, you're going to have to go over into the bead next to it and the one on top of that bead. Like so. And this will tighten everything up. As you pull this through, pull it tightly. Put your finger on top of the 11-0s and push them down as you pull on your thread. That will tighten everything up. Now you're going to go down into the pearl, through the 2 11-0s into the pearl. And just kind of straighten your thread up so it looks nice and neat. And your tension may have gotten really tight to where you've tightened up your 11-0s here. Just kind of pull them into place. Pick up 2 cubes, and then you're coming out of this pearl. You're going to go into the one next to it. Bring the pearls up next to each other so that they stand up, like so. Cross over, go through the pearl next to the one you're coming out of, and down through the crystal underneath it. Make sure that thread goes down underneath your 11-0s and pull tightly. And then go up into the crystal next to the one you're coming out of, like so. Now we're coming out of this crystal here, and you can see my crystals are spread apart. So we're going to cross over, and we're going to go down to the crystal next to the one we're coming out of. And this will pull these crystals together. Like so. Now, I'm pulling on my thread a lot, so make sure as you do that, you pull straight down. Don't pull to the side of your crystal because you'll break your thread. Pick up 2 crystals, drop them down, and again, go up through the crystal you're coming out of and the pearl. At this point, we're going to cross over this pearl here. Make sure your crystals are on there nice and tight. Cross over to the pearl here. Pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, like so. Cross over into the pearl next to the one you're coming out of. Go up through it and the 2 11-0s on top of it. Pull those beads down, nice and neat. Then go down through the 11-0s and the pearl underneath them, and the 2 crystals, like so. Now, if you find you're getting too much thread up here and you don't like the way that looks, you can always add the 3 11-0s in front of that too, but it doesn't really bother me. So I'm just going to come down through here, and then I'm going to go up through this crystal here. I'm going to cross over because I'm coming out of this one that's all out of whack here, and I'm going to go into the one next to it from the top, and I'm going to pull them nice and neat, like so. Then I'm going to pick up 2 pearls. I'm going to go up through one of the crystals here and pull these 2 pearls down, like so. Then I'm going to go across from the crystal I'm coming out of and go through that crystal next to it and the pearl right here. And pull. And then now I'm going to add 2 11-0 seed beads. Pick up 2, like so. I'm going to go down through this pearl and pull these tight. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to cross over from this pearl to this pearl and come back through this pearl here and the 11-0 on top of it, like so. I realize I'm kind of turning my piece, but it helps me to get my needle through where I want it to be. So now I'm coming through these 2 11-0s again. So I'm going to pick up 2 more, or actually I'm going to pick up 1 pearl and an 11-0 seed bead. And I'm going to drop this down to my piece, like so. Then I'm going to go around the 11-0 into the pearl and into the 11-0 and pearl and the 2 crystals, if I can get it all. And I'm just going to exit this crystal here and pull. Pull it all tight, arrange it nice and neat, like so. Now come up through this pearl here and just the pearl. And we'll do 1 more unit together and then we will go to length. So we're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads onto the needle, like so, and a pearl, and 3 11-0 seed beads. And this is what you should have. We're going to come around the pearl and go into the opposite side we're coming out of and pull them together, like so. Now we're going to go through these 3 11-0 seed beads. Then we're going to go down through the pearl. Then we're going to pick up another pearl and we're going to wrap ourselves around here and go back into the pearl that we previously put on, like so. Now we're going to sew back through this again. Last time I didn't sew through it completely and it looks a little too thready. So we're going to sew through it and pull them tight, like so. Now at this point you can go up and put your 11-0s on, which is what I'm going to do, or you can go down and put your crystals on and then come back up. But I'm going to go ahead and come up through, pick up my 11-0s because that kind of pulls everything together better too, so, and I like to just have them done. So I'm going to pick up my 2 11-0s. I'm going to go back through the pearl here. So I'm coming out of this one. I'm going to go through the one next to it. Come up through the pearl next to the one I'm exiting. Come up through the 11-0s, like so. Pick up 2 11-0s, come back down through just the 11-0 here, next to the one I'm exiting, and pull. Come up underneath the one next to the one I'm exiting again, and the bead on top of it. Let me straighten that out. There we go. So go up through, like so. Then cross over, go back down through the 11-0s and the pearl. And the pearl's at a funny angle, so it takes a minute to get your needle through. You may just have to pull through your 11-0s here and then go through your pearl. Then at this point, make sure your 3 11-0s that you added originally are somewhat neat. And then pick up 2 crystals, like so. Go up through the pearl, lay these crystals side by side, so that they're standing up right underneath the pearls. I got my pearl at a funny angle there, so when I pull it over this way, it should straighten it up. So I'm coming out of this pearl here, I'm going to go down into this pearl, I'm going to go down into the crystal, make sure my thread goes down underneath those 11-0s and pull, and that did help straighten it out. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more 11-0s. I'm going to go up, or 11-0s, these are not 11-0s, these are crystals. Go up through the crystal next to the one you're exiting, pull, straighten them out, pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, and this time I'm going to go through the crystals with the 11-0s and see if it, well actually, let's just go ahead and go through the pearls. That's what we've been doing. So let's go up through the pearls, up through the 11-0s, down through the 11-0s on this side, if I can get them both, there we go, down through the pearl, and exit the top crystal here, or actually go through both crystals. There we go. Have to go through it anyway, so. And there you have it. We're going to put the bottom on, but like I said, the order that you do things, it can change if you would like it to. It's just however you find that it works best for you. And as you can tell, this is a really thread thirsty piece that I'm making, so you're going to need a lot of thread, and you're going to need to add thread, so just be aware of that. Pick up 2 pearls, come up, you're coming out of this crystal, come up through this one. Now my crystals are not perfect, but as I do this, it'll pull them straight. So I'm coming out of this crystal, I'm going to cross over into the one next to it, come through it, and pick up the pearl underneath it, 2, and pull. That will straighten out my crystals and my pearls. If you need to go back down through the pearls again, you can, to pull them straight. That's fine too. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, come up through the crystal next to the one you're exiting, pull these seed beads down, come through the crystal, or excuse me, come through the pearl next to the one you're exiting. So you're coming out here, go in here, go down into the 11-0, My mouth isn't following my hands today, sorry. Of course it does that a lot, but alright. I'm going to pull these tight. I'm going to pick up a pearl and an 11-0, and I'm going to drop them down like so. I'm going to come up through the pearl just around the 11-0. I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads and cross over, go back through the pearl here. You could go back into the crystal, but since I'm coming out of the pearl, I'm just going to go back through the pearls. Like I said, you can alter this thread path as long as it ends up the same product at the end. It's fine. You can alter the thread path. It is a forgiving one. Just don't cross over strangely or anything. But you can alter it as you go through. Then I'm coming out of the pearl. I'm trying to get back into this 11-0 here. And then I'm going to go back up through this pearl here. And back through my 11-0, my pearl. And I'm going to exit. I'm going to go through these 3 pearls here, or these 3 seed beads. Wow. Okay. I'm just going to say whatever I want today, guys. It doesn't have to make sense, I guess. Then we're going to go up through these 2 crystals here. We're going to go through this pearl here and pull the thread through. Make sure that you don't interfere with the 3 11-0 seed beads on top here. I don't think I did. I think I just messed them up. So I straightened them up. Now we will start another unit by picking up 3 11-0 seed beads, a pearl, and 3 11-0 seed beads, and do the exact same thing. If you need to back up the video and watch again to make several of them until you get it down, that's fine. And like I said, your thread path, you can customize it to what works best for you, as long as it's nice and tight and pretty, and you end up with the same units, and you can work your way back up to the pearl to make the next unit, then you will be fine. This is pretty forgiving, so just work out a way that works really good for you. Make sure that you keep everything really tight. If you have to sew through it several times, that's fine. Just keep everything nice and neat. So go ahead and continue making these until you have 20 units. So you're just going to continue making them until you have 20 of them, and then we are going to be exiting the pearl on this side. So after you make your last unit, sew up just like you would to start your next unit from your pearl. And let me get a little closer here. Oops, wrong way. And I will show you the next step. We're now going to make the portion of the necklace that goes up around the neck and clasps. So we're coming out of this pearl here. We're going to pick up 6 11-0 seed beads. Oops, I just spilled all my seed beads. Hang on a second and I'll show you what I'm going to pick up. So I'm going to pick up 6 11-0s. And then I'm going to pick up an 8-0, a crystal, and an 8-0, and 6 11-0s. And this is what I have. 6 11-0s, 8-0, crystal cube, 8-0, and 6 11-0s. And I'm going to drop this down into my piece. And I'm coming out of this top pearl here. I'm going to go into this bottom pearl here, and then I'm going to slide up through my crystals, both of them, and back up through the pearl, avoiding all the 11-0s on the other side of that pearl, and just come through and pull this into a loop. Now we're coming out of the pearl. we're going to sew all the way up into this crystal cube here. So just come up all of these seed beads. And come into your crystal cube. Okay, so now we're coming out of this crystal after sewing back up through the seed beads. We will pick up an 8/0 and then 4 11/0 seed beads onto our needle, and then an 8/0 and 4 more 11/0 seed beads, and I will show you what I have in just a moment, and then an 8/0. So this is what you should have: an 8/0, mine is way over here, an 8/0, 4 11/0s, an 8/0, 4 11/0s, and an 8/0. We're coming out of this side of the crystal. We're going to drop these down and go to the opposite side of the crystal and just go through the crystal like so. Then you're going to sew up the 8/0 here all the way through the 4 11/0s and then into the 8/0 in the center and pull. Now, because this is a connection, I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way around this again and exit this 8/0 and start my next loop. You can sew around all of them this way that you make, all of the loops, or you can just sew half through. It depends on how strong you want your necklace to be. But on this first one, go ahead and double the thread. And let's sew back up halfway here. So I'm coming out of the cube now. I'm going to go into the 8/0 and all 4 11/0s, and then into my 8/0 again. And now I am just going to make loops so that it's like a wide open chain all the way up. So it has flexibility and it moves around your neck well. So we're going to pick up 4 11/0 seed beads, an 8/0, and 4 11/0 seed beads, like so. Then we are coming out of this side of this 8/0. We're going to go into the opposite side of the 8/0 here and pull. Then I'm going to sew all the way up. Now, like I said, you can sew all the way around the entire thing and then sew halfway back up like we did the first one to ensure that your chain has a whole lot of strength. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to sew up halfway here and start my next loop just so that I can shorten my length here. So I am going to pick up 4 11/0s now that I'm coming out of my 8/0. I'm going to pick up an 8/0 and then I'm going to pick up 4 more 11/0 seed beads onto my needle, like so. And again, I am just going to loop around and come back into my 8/0 on the opposite side from which I'm exiting here. And then I'm going to sew back up to the 8/0 seed bead that I just added on the top here. Now we're going to continue doing this, making little loops until we have, so now I have made 15 of my chain stitch. Once you have made 15 or whatever number you want to achieve whatever length you are going for. This is going to be between an 18 and 19 inch necklace. So I have made 15 and I am not counting this first loop here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 if you count the first loop coming out of the crystal here. Now, I'm coming out right here. Let's get close. So I've made my last loop, and then I sewed around it and came up through the top 8/0 seed bead, and now I am going to add a clasp to this. So I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead, then I'm going to pick up a crystal, then I'm going to pick up an 8/0 seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up my loop. So let me show you what I have. So I have an 11/0, a crystal, an 8/0, and my clasp here. Back off just a little bit. Get over here. Now bring these down like so, and then go around the 8/0 seed bead. So you're through the clasp, go around the 8/0 seed bead into the crystal, and not through the 11/0 seed bead underneath it. So I do need to get a little closer here. So I'm just ignoring this little 11/0 underneath the crystal, and I'm going to pull this down. And then I'm going to pick up an 11/0 seed bead and go back through the 8/0 that I started in here. This is what you should have. I just sew back up through this entire thing, so I'll go through my 8/0, or my 11/0 on this side, my crystal, my 8/0, and then through my clasp, like so. And I will come back down into the 8/0, the crystal, the 11/0 on the opposite side, here, and back through the 8/0 I'm attaching to. And I'll do that 3 or 4 times until I feel like I have enough strength there, and I will be back. Okay, so I've secured my clasping. So what I'm going to do now, since I didn't go through each and every one of these loops twice, I'm just going to sew my way down, and that will do the opposite side of where the thread is not doubled from sewing back up around to do your next stitch. So what I'm trying to tell you is you're coming out of this 8/0 here, you're just going to sew into these 4 here, and then I will go into my 8/0 seed bead here. Make sure you don't bunch anything up. Go into the next 4 11/0s in the next link. Go into the 8/0 and just sew down the entire length of the necklace doing that. When you get to the end, we'll tie off, cut it off, and we'll move to the other side of the necklace. Okay, so I've sewn all the way back down, and now I am coming out of this 8/0 seed bead right here before a connection to the crystal. So I'm going to go down into these 4 11/0s here, and right between this 8/0 and this 11/0 I'm going to tie a knot. So I'm just going to go underneath and make sure my thread goes between those 2 beads. And then I'm going to sew back through the 8/0, the crystal, and I'm going to tie a knot here between the 8/0 and the crystal. And now, if you would like, you can sew all the way back up the other end and tie off by your clasping if you'd like to reinforce it even further. That's up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew through a few more links here. So I've gone through these 4 8/0 seed or 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to go through this 8/0. And I'm just going to sew up 2 or 3 links, and then I'm going to cut off my thread and burn it down. And then we will be back and start the other side. Okay, so I sewed up a little bit, tied a few more knots, and cut off my thread and burned down the excess thread that I left after cutting it down. And now I'm going to go to the side with my tail, and I'm going to take a new thread, and I'm going to tie a square knot. I'm going to extend this Fireline. I'm going to do this quickly. However, there is a video on my new channel called GGC's Beginning Beaters. It's video number 4 that will show you how to extend Fireline. If you do not know how to do it, it'll be a more detailed description. So, or instruction, whatever you want to say. So, let's get close. This is my new thread. This is my tail thread. I am going to put my new thread underneath my tail thread, and then I'm going to take my tail thread and go over and under the new thread. And then I'm going to take the two ends. This is my tail thread. This is my new working thread. I'm going to cross it over the top, and then I'm going to go under again. So it's just into the loop. So it's just a square knot, and then I'm going to pull this knot down. I'm going to tighten that little knot I just made. I'm going to pull my working thread to where it's really short, and then I'm going to cut off my tail thread to where it's the same length with my working thread, like so. My scissors are dull, it leaves a little wad there. Then I'm just going to take my lighter, and at the very bottom of my lighter I'm just going to get close to the thread, and I'm going to let it roll into a little ball. So if you get really close, you can see the little balls. Now I'm going to take the tail thread and the working thread, and I'm going to pull those little balls together. That creates a very tight knot and an extension in your thread that won't break. Now we're going to begin this side so that we can finish the extension like we made on this side. So here I'm coming out of the crystal, and I need to go down into, so I'm coming out of the top crystal, I'm going to go down into the bottom crystal, so I'm just going to go between them, and then I'm going to go into this pearl right underneath that bottom crystal. So this is the outside of the necklace here. And I'm going to pull right through. And see, my extension goes right through. Keep your little blobs at the end of your thread small so that you can pass through your beads until you're past that knot. Then we are going to pick up 6 11-0 seed beads. An 8-0, a crystal, an 8-0, and 6 11-0 seed beads. So you've got 6 11-0s, an 8-0, a crystal, an 8-0, and 6 11-0s. I'm going to come down and pull over my little extension there. And then I'm going to go into this top opposite pearl from the one I'm coming out of. Go through that pearl, go through the crystal, and go through the pearl that you started in, right there. Just get close and pull through. Now we're going to sew through this entire little loop we just made. So I'm coming out of the pearl. I'm going to go up through all of my 11-0s here, and my 8-0 and my crystal. Then again, I will go through the 8-0, all the 11-0s, and the pearl, and then through my crystal and pearl again. So through the pearl, the 2 crystals, and the bottom pearl. Now I'm just going to sew up to the crystal, and exit the crystal. And then I'm going to pick up an 8-0 and 4 11-0 seed beads, and an 8-0 and 4 11-0 seed beads, and an 8-0. This is what I have. Now I'm going to go to the opposite side of the crystal I'm coming out of, and sew through the crystal. And now I'll sew around this entire length, and then I'll sew halfway up again and begin the extensions just like we did on the other side. We'll do the same amount of extensions as we did on the other side, and then put the clasp on exactly the same way we did on the other side. And then you'll sew back down, tie off, cut off your thread, and we'll be finished. So back through the crystal, I'm going to go all the way up to the 8-0 seed bead, here. And then I'll begin my little extensions by picking up 4 of my 11-0 seed beads, an 8-0, whoops, that's 3, I need 4, and an 8-0, and 4 11-0s. Go back through this 8-0. Then I'll sew around to the top of the 8-0 and continue making links just like this one until I match the other side of my necklace, and put my clasp on, sew through, tie off, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished my clasping. I've sewn back through and did my other end of the clasp, and then tied off. And this is what the finished product looks like. I put it on, it hangs really nicely, it's really pretty. And this is the bracelet that we made in the last video that will go with it. So I think it's a pretty set so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and make one for yourself. I think you'll like it. Bye.